We're live. Hello and welcome to this week's The Face of Entrepreneurs show. We've got an exciting show for you this evening. My name is Stuart Harris and I'm the host of the show tonight, and I'll be joined by one of the founding members of The Face of Entrepreneurs, and his name is Ranil Rajapaksha. Ranil, welcome along this evening. Good to see you.
Howdy, Stuart. Great to be part of this again, and really excited about today's show as well.
Yeah, I think we're in for a real treat tonight, and I've been looking forward to this one all week. So I'm really keen to get the full rundown from our guest. But before we start, I'd like to perhaps ask you or invite you to talk a little bit about the Face of Entrepreneurs and the three pillars that the Face of Entrepreneurs is based on.
Absolutely. The Face of Entrepreneurs basically was started by Federico Ray and myself, and also Maya. We're three business owners, entrepreneurs that came together and started a meetup group quite a while ago now, probably about 8 months ago or so. It just started with no real mission, but it's taken off like wildfire. It's been great. We've been getting lots of positive feedback. We adhere to three pillars, which is basically connect, inspire, and escape. So we connect with like-minded people in terms of networking. Inspire, we have someone that will inspire the crowd, and also touch on a lot of elements that we can all benefit from. And the escape component kind of makes it a little bit different from other groups out there. So what we actually do is we do an event that is mostly a secret until people actually rock up to the event itself, and that has been really popular with people. So we've got a doozy coming up for our next event, which I'll probably get into a little bit later, but yeah, stay tuned for that, because this one's probably the best one yet.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear about that, because I think I'm going to be able to make that one for the first time ever, so I'm looking forward to doing that. But look, we're coming to you live on the internet right now. I'm coming to you through what's called a Google Hangout, and this is really marvelous technology from Google. It allows us to have a visible, real-time discussion like we're having right now. And one of the other things it allows us to do is to bring in really special people that have a story to tell us, and of course something that they can really add to help us live our lives. And our special guest this evening is one of such people. She's a wonderful business person in her own right. She's created a lot of really special education around health and well-being and how to live your life to the fullest. And I'd really like to welcome along this evening Ricki Vinci. Welcome along, Ricki.
Thanks, guys. It's great to be here.
Yeah, and look, we're really excited to have you too, because I know I probably haven't done the introduction justice. I think there's more to what we're going to hear from you tonight than what I've talked about. And so perhaps if I can kick it off and ask you to talk a little bit about what you do, what's your business based on, and how did that come to be?
Okay, so basically I am a health and learning coach. My business came to be 3 years ago. I was basically working as a chartered accountant. I'd been a chartered accountant for about 13 years, and was basically I had been starting to think about branching out and starting my own business, and it was basically in 2012 that I was rejected for life insurance. And that was the reason for that, was because I had abnormal LFTs, and basically went on this journey only to find out that basically I had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So I put on a bit of weight around the abdomen, I had the fatty liver, and at the same time my son was having learning difficulties. So it was at a point of a lot of stress in my life, because basically I had gone through a divorce 6 years prior, had 2 deaths within 6 months, and was quite stressed in a role that I was really not happy in. I wasn't following my bliss, and so decided at that point to basically branch out and start my own health and wellness business. Had been a medical scientist prior to being a chartered accountant, so I'd had another amazing career before going into accounting, and so health was always a passion of mine, so it was a natural thing to branch out and go into health and wellness.
Yeah, and look, it's always difficult when you've had circumstances that impact your life and cause things to really go into focus and have a major check. And I can hear that coming from you right now. Tell us about how you moved away from that and what brought you to where you are now.
Right. So basically, I suppose it was crunch time. As soon as I was diagnosed with having abnormal LFTs, I left my job, and in the first year, branched out, started my company. It was all about qualifying for fitness, nutrition, and in the third, the whole brain health side of things with my cognitive cogmed training and certified. So it's been a bit of a learning journey, but what happened was that when I did start on this journey, I was really focused on the health and wellness because I was passionate about health. But I found that because of my son's learning, drawn in to try and understand what was going on with him, and was being pulled away and continually undertaking research for him, and within a few weeks worked out that he was dyslexic, and then went on this whole other journey in terms of incorporating all the stuff that I was doing for brain health and neuroplasticity into my health and wellness offering, incorporating it into fitness, nutrition, and the whole body, mind, spirit connection.
Wow, you've been through quite a lot, Ricki. That's quite amazing.
Yes.
Wow.
It's been amazing, but I've been fortunate because I had a really solid foundation as a medical scientist, so I had really amazing research skills and was able to apply them when it came to trying to work out what was going on with my son, was able to apply them to that scenario, and then it just took me on this whole other journey, and my passion for neuroplasticity and brain health just took over, and I was able to incorporate it all together in one offering, which has been really nice.
And
That's
so currently
amazing.
you've got some offering and coaching going on. Tell us a bit about the business and what your typical client is, Ricki.
Okay, so basically, my typical client, I tend to be, because of the experience I've had with my son, my typical client is a child. So basically, I find that a lot of the work I do is with children with learning difficulties. But then again, I have people coming to me that have other health issues, and because of my strong scientific skills, I'm able to apply that and do the research to try and come up with a health and wellness offering specifically that is based on the concept of bio-individuality, because I've trained through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, which is all about looking at your fitness, looking at your health in terms of nutrition, looking at lifestyle, and stress is a big one. Like, you guys will know that you go out and you meet people, and the number of times that you come across people that are chronically unwell and chronically stressed, unhappy in their jobs. On average, I would meet someone every day that complains about going to work, with lead in their boots. They're literally going to work and literally miserable. So stress is a major one that comes through a lot, and I tend to work with people that are highly stressed, but then my key focus is kids, because if you can make a change at that level, then you can really change their lives. And just to give you an indication, statistics indicate that I think 60 to 70% of inmates have some sort of learning difficulty. So if you can change a child's life early on and really impact in terms of where they're going, you can really change the course of of their future, and in the end, from a social perspective, do so much good for the world too. It reaps repercussions.
So it's a really specialized field, isn't it, Ricki? How do you really differentiate yourself, I guess, from the market, in the marketplace, from your competitors? Is there something that you differ on, in terms of a point of difference, I guess, to the market?
Well, with health coaching, as health coaches, we've trained, and there's many around. These guys are amazing individuals who've trained with the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. We're quite in tune in terms of understanding what it is that's causing a lot of the health issues. So the course is run through New York, and it's quite advanced in terms of looking at the leading edge things to do with food. So you guys might have heard that there's a whole thing with the gut-brain connection, and this is where a lot of my research is also focused on the whole gut and brain connection, because essentially your gut is your second brain. So if you're not eating well, and I mean exercise is one thing, but you could be exercising, and if you're not eating well, and you're taking in foods that are toxic to your gut, then that will have a relevant effect to your brain. And so I work with a lot of kids that have got, like, for instance, ADHD, and oftentimes their diet's quite poor. So it's really about working with the parents to try and improve their diet, because you can really affect change without even sometimes turning to medication, just by making changes to their fitness, changes to their nutrition. And then there's the cognitive training with the CogMed training that I do, which works on neuroplasticity.
I'm really intrigued by the purpose of the gut in creating well-being, and I think this is very much underrated. And I know there's a lot of material and noise in the marketplace about eating right and all of that, but a lot of people don't really understand why you have to eat right. I mean, I know they get it, that you have to have fiber and all the right types of fruit and vegetables, but why is it so important that what goes in the gut is correct, and how does that really create a better well-being for us right throughout our whole body?
Well, typically what you see with a lot of people that have, it's called gut dysbiosis, so their whole gut microflora is out, is that essentially it manifests oftentimes with behavioural issues. And there's been a lot of work done in the field of autism, for instance, ADHD, and where diets, some of these kids have gone on elimination diets where they've removed certain parts, certain foods like preservatives, additives, colorings, all these things, MSG, soy. So if we look at where we've come from over the years in terms of our diet now, there's a lot more processed foods, a lot more sugaring foods, and a lot of these have on these children's guts are quite toxic, and then manifest in terms of them having these issues. So I have attended so many conferences over the last couple of years, and one of the great conferences that highly recommend to any parent to attend is a conference that's run annually in Sydney called Through the Mind Foundation. That's spelled MINDD. You can Google it. Incredible foundation doing some really great work. And there's also the Autism Foundation in Victoria, and a lot of what they go on about is looking at diet and then seeing what's in the diet, because when you break it down, sometimes you see that someone's you look at their daily plan and they haven't had any vegetables, they haven't had any fruit, and a lot of it's packet food. And you've got the square box meal these days where people are so busy that they're too busy to come home and actually cook meals. So it's all about getting back to basics. To be honest with you, I don't prescribe a one size fits all. It's a very individual thing, and it's also about tuning in and feeding your body with the foods that really gives you a certain bliss factor. You want to enjoy life too, but you want to make sure that you're getting all your nutrients. And one of the things that I also do in terms of my nutritional protocol is I look at, because I'm a medical scientist by background, and one of the things I used to do as a medical scientist was routine blood testing. So, for instance, if you had to go and get your UNEs or LFTs done to see if you're deficient in anything, that was what I did. So I've basically incorporated that into my offering, whereby, I work with parents and I say, have they had their vitamin D checked? Have they had their zinc levels checked? Because have they had their omega-3 levels checked? Because these are critical factors in terms of brain health, and it all makes a huge difference. So nutritional supplementation by vitamins has been shown in these kids to have a profound effect. And I've been on a nutritional plan myself where I've incorporated supplementation, and so has my son. And in fact, it's made a big difference for us.
That's amazing. Look, I understand you also work with parents to help with memory loss, I guess, with children.
Yes.
I don't know about you, Stuart, but that's sometimes an issue with me. And I guess you did mention something about brain fog. as well.
Yeah.
Did you mind actually expanding on that? Because I think that's an area that we can all probably benefit from any advice that you have. So, yeah, would love to hear.
Well, I was your typical brain fog patient, right? So basically, I didn't realize this, but towards the end, when I left my job as a CA, I was really struggling with all the stress, and I thought maybe it was that I was, juggling single full-time parenting and full-time work and doing too much. But then when I actually, went back and looked at it, and through all the research over the last 3 years, one thing I realized was that I actually had working memory problems all my life, but had never been diagnosed as such. And it was only because of my journey with my son that I was able to work out that, hey, I've got the working memory problems too. So I actually started the CogMed, which is a program that helps with working memory. So your ability to be able to, remember a set task. So you go down the road, turn left, make a right, and you'll see, the milk shop on the tuck shop, whatever, on down the road. You'll see it there, stop there. I would have forgotten by the first step, and that's an indication that you could have working memory problems. The brain fog was another thing. I did have the brain fog, and I found that when I cut out, I eliminated dairy. For me, and it's not for everyone, but for me, I've been able to tune into my own body to work out what it is that for me is not right, and dairy was a big one. A lot of people may experience other things, like for instance, if they have hormonal issues, oftentimes that can be an indication that you have issues with brain fog, and if you get your hormones right, then the brain fog will disappear. So brain fog could be tied to stress, it could be tied to diet. Exercise is an amazing thing for the brain, so highly recommend. Like my pattern in the mornings, I exercise between 30 minutes to 60 minutes in the gym. I do a lot of strength training, which is great for bone density, especially for women over 30 or 40. The other thing I do when I get home, I then meditate for about 30 minutes. That's amazing for your working memory, and it's so good for your own personal well-being. And then I train. I do my CogMed training for about 10 minutes, and then I start my, my daily tasks. So it's all about giving back to you. If you don't love yourself enough to take care of yourself, no one else will. So it's super important.
I totally agree with you. And Ricki, tell us about how you manage to work those elements into your day, because a lot of people will come to me especially and say, I don't have the time for that, and
Yes.
I quite aptly point out that they do. But tell us how you get around that argument.
Well, so basically, what I realized was when I recently had some tests done, and it did come up that I actually have ADD type traits, and it was only through my journey with my son's dyslexia research that I worked it out, and I had it confirmed via a psychologist. One of the things I've always known is that when I exercise, that I'm actually better mentally. So having had that confirmed for me, and then so understanding that about myself, now I make it a priority. If I exercise and I meditate, and then I do my CogMed training, and then I'm off for the rest of the day, I can be 100 times more effective than days when I don't do that. I don't get as much done. So I know for me, from a productivity perspective, and I recommend it to everyone, even adults, if you've got a set, and you can put it in your day, you don't have to have it all in the slot. You could wake up early to do your gym, then for lunch do your 10 minutes meditation. It doesn't have to be half an hour, and then in the evening do your CogMed training. Like it's all about what is more important for you. Like at the end of the day, do you want to be a 40 or 50 or 60-year-old and still be functioning well mentally? Because if you're not, life can be quite hard at that age if you're not well balanced. And brain health is a huge area at the moment, with mental health issue being such a big thing.
Absolutely fascinating. I'm learning so much from this, and there's a whole bunch of key takeaways, Ricki. It's you've opened up a whole new world, actually, which I don't think many people really think about. Especially entrepreneurs and people who work long hours and high stress levels and challenges and all that kind of stuff, and not sleeping well. I think sometimes we tend to forget what the important thing is. Do you find that a lot? And also, I guess the main thing is, if if there's someone watching right now that probably thinks they would love to know a little bit more about what would help them, what should they do?
Well, I would recommend as the first point of call going to my website, which is www.rickivinci.com. I've just released a free ebook, which basically they can subscribe to get the free ebook, and that in itself is just a compilation of inspirational quotes that I've compiled over the last 3 years on this journey. And let's face it, like, I think that we get sometimes in a rut, so a little bit of inspirational goes a long way, and that's a free ebook, so that's a great offering. Then I'm also offering on my website a free health coaching briefing session, so that will enable them to get a little bit more information in terms of what should they be doing, because everyone's different, everyone's got different circumstances, so the solution needs to be tailored really very much on a one-to-one basis. And then the other thing is that I have got a huge connection of health coaches that I'm in contact with nationally and internationally. So, if they wanted to have the face-to-face interaction, I can put them onto someone. But my website's amazing in that it's quite comprehensive in terms of all the research that I've done, and I also I'm continually updating and putting more on there. So it's definitely a really very good first portal of call to go to find out more information, because I have, it's been a 3-year journey for me, and I don't expect anyone that's working full time to be able to, have the time to research it. So to have a place where they can go and get the information is great.
And look, we're coming to you live on a Google Hangout, and I'm with Ranil Rajapaksha from the Face of Entrepreneurs, and we've got a wonderful conversation going on with Ricki Vinci from rickivinci.com, and she's just talked about a wonderful offer she's got for you at her website, so please go there. Ricki, tell us about your vision for the future and where you want to take everything from where you are now.
Yeah, so basically 3 years ago when I started on this journey and my son was diagnosed with dyslexia, I started a Facebook page called Helping Children Learn and Thrive. And the whole thing was that I really wanted to sort of like be able to give back, and it was also a good opportunity for me to start documenting things formally and sharing all my research and my knowledge. So my view is that eventually I will set up a foundation for helping children to learn and thrive. That is a really big part, and I recommend to anyone setting out on an entrepreneurial, adventure. It is an adventure to actually also incorporate a bit of social entrepreneurship, because if you give, the abundance of giving, the abundance comes back. So that's a really key focus for me, is helping the kids, because there are so many kids that are in pain. There are so many parents that are stressed out, not knowing what to do with with these kids that are having issues. Just to give you an example, autism, I think it was back in 1970, it was 1 in 10,000. It's now 1 in 60. These parents need support, and so the focus would be to set up a foundation eventually, and also to really help on providing these parents with support and helping these kids.
Awesome. Please keep us updated with this foundation. We would definitely love to know more and support it as much as we can. Do you mind just going through exactly what the Facebook address was again, so I can just get that down so our viewers can also probably write it down and like it?
Yeah, so it's in Facebook. It's Helping Children Learn and Thrive.
Okay.
And if you Google Ricki Vinci, you'll find that I'm all over the social networking, so that'll come up too with my name. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. That's brilliant. I love it.
And Ricki, we really like bits and pieces and things that our audience can take away. Are you able to give us sort of 3 key elements that they really should take on board or apply in their lives that's really going to make a difference to them right now?
Yeah. So one, in terms of my own experience, in terms of how I've set up off on this entrepreneurial adventure, is one, have a game plan. So, you know, you might be in a role and you're not happy doing what you're doing, but you want to make a change. And it might not be that you want to be an entrepreneur. It may be that you just want to have a change of role. So have a game plan in terms of what it is that you want to do. Set yourself a vision board. Like I did that early on, and I only recently went back and looked at it, and I found that it was quite similar in terms of what my outcome was. So have a vision. Oftentimes, I find that working with a coach is so important in terms of being able to you know, achieve certain objectives. So if it's getting fit and healthy, take on, you know, a health coach, because they can really help you with your fitness, nutrition, and other areas of life, and reducing stress. And there's plenty of them out there through the Institute of Integrity Nutrition. There's so many great, these coaches are amazing people. They're so down to earth, and they've got amazing knowledge. So there's someone that you can connect to. And then I would say time. Like I've invested 3 years of my time in this, and I love it, absolutely love it. So make sure you follow your passion. You have to be passionate about this stuff, because if you don't follow your passion, it's just drudgery, you know. It's like lead, you know, that feeling of lead in the boots when I was going to my office and working as an accountant. Towards the end, it was lead. I was walking there, I was literally dying at my desk. So have, you know, have the passion, invest the time, and don't focus on the money, because, you know, one of the things I had to do last year was actually sell my house. So I had, when I left my job, and this is one of the things, I'll be completely honest with you, is I had some savings, and I found that within a year I'd gone through the savings, and I was at a point where I wasn't ready to really, you know, I still had some more research to do in terms of formulating my offering, and so I sold my house. And it was really, I had to get a change of mindset happening in terms of how do I do this, because I'd grown up in a family, an Italian family that had immigrated to Australia in 1960, and it was all about building property and building wealth. You know, you work hard and you build 100 houses and so forth, and that was my mindset. So I had to actually completely do a 360-degree turn and completely change my mindset in terms of, you know, letting go of that. And it was the best thing I did, because actually not having a mortgage was, you know, incredible, and having cash in the bank was amazing. So I'd say to anyone, don't focus on the money, because if you're following your passion, it will come. The money will come.
Totally agree.
I think you'd agree with that too, wouldn't you, Ranil?
Look, I think what's beautiful is, especially with Google Hangout, is, you know, you get to actually see the passion in your eyes, Ricki. It's amazing. You know, when you talk about this, your whole body language changes. There's an aura around you. It's really beautiful to see, and I think that's what we're trying to also, you know, I guess achieve with this radio program, is to bring on people like yourself, you know, with everyday heroes that we might not know your story if we walk past you or said hi to you, you know, at a networking event. But, you know, you're an inspiration. It's really, really motivating to hear your story. It's amazing. And I think there's a whole another series of 30 talks that we could do in terms of how you turned everything around and how you changed your mindset, and, you know, having a dependent, and also maybe even, you know, your life path. In terms of all these things probably happened for a reason, you know, but sometimes you need to also choose to look at things that way. So it's awe-inspiring. You're an amazing woman, and you know, I'm really, really glad that you shared your story. So thanks for being so honest. And yeah, I encourage everybody to head over to rickivinci.com. Can you just, sorry, Stuart, if I'm cutting off, but do you mind actually going through again what you're willing to offer everybody that heads over to your website in terms of the ebook and the offer as well?
Yeah, sure. So basically, if they head over to my website, straight away they'll get a pop-up for the free ebook, and that's the free ebook is all about inspirational quotes that I've compiled over the last 3 years. So, you know, there were times where I was like, oh my goodness, it's not working, and, you know, and I would jot down stuff, and I had an Instagram account, and I would, you know, I would post them, and then basically after, you know, 3 years of stuff, like I came across all this stuff and I put it together into a free ebook. So that's inspirations for people to take away when they're feeling down. They can really feel the energy coming through in this ebook. Then there's also on my website, on the main page, on the bottom left, there's also another subscribe box that gives them, if they subscribe in that box, it gives them a free health coaching briefing session, and that's a great session for us to connect, and we can, you know, really run through some of the things that, you know, might be causing them stress, and a great opportunity because that usually retails at about, you know, $99. So another freebie there. And then basically, yeah, there's a lot of information on the website. If they've got any questions, just feel free. There's a Helping Children Learn and Thrive page that is amazing in terms of the research that I've posted there over the last 3 years, and open for them to contact me if they've got any questions on the fitness side of things, the nutrition side of things, or the CogMed side of things to do with neuroplasticity. Yeah, just give me a call and help. I'm very open to sharing, as you'll tell, but you'll be able to tell from my website and my Helping Children Learn and Thrive page. Sharing the love.
Yeah, and that's wonderful too. It's great. And look, one of the things that I think we should make mention of, and I'm not quite sure whether it's popped up at all, Ricki, is the fact that it's all evidence-based. Everything that you're doing is evidence-based. And I want our audience, our viewers, to understand that. So it's not just manufactured content. This has all got substance behind it. So I think that's really pertinent to what you're doing. I'm going to encourage all of us to round out with one last gold nugget, or you know, takeaway. But before I do, Renil, I just wonder perhaps if we could just give a plug for the Face of Entrepreneurs and the upcoming event. I know we're probably still a couple of weeks away, but I just thought we'd pop that in there just while we're all thinking about our nuggets.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm getting hungry now after you said that. Now, basically, look, we've got our next event coming up on Wednesday, April 22nd. So it's actually about 4 weeks away or so. And we're doing it a little bit differently. So the escape component, everybody is always very excited to find out what that is. We've done stuff like rock climbing, ice skating, Bollywood dancing. You know, we try and push the comfort zone. We did beach volleyball last time, and we're going to do it a bit differently. So we're not going to keep it a secret, guys. We're going to widen the net. You know, we're going to get as many people as possible, and ready for it. We're basically doing an amazing race. So what it is we're basically calling it the Amazing Race/Face of Entrepreneurs. And we're going to be, you know, putting people in groups. We're going to be going all around Docklands, finding clues, and running around and all that kind of stuff, and having a heap of fun. We're basically also going to be doing a tour of Etihad Stadium, going into the guts of the real stadium. And believe it or not, we're going to have an amazing speaker called Marina Paronetto. Sorry if I got that wrong, Marina. But basically, we'll be having that chat and that inspiring, I guess, speaking session at the media center, where coaches get grilled. So it's going to be good fun. It's a little bit of a different angle this time, but come on down to meetup.com. Look out for the Face of Entrepreneurs. It's on Wednesday, April 22nd, and all the links are on the meetup page. So even if you're just interested, come on and have a look.
Awesome. Thanks very much for that, Renil. And Ricki, we would really love to see you along as well, if it's possible. So I know I'm putting you right on the spot here.
I love the health focus. I love it that you're going to be running and being healthy and incorporating fitness. How awesome is that?
That's right. Exactly.
Absolutely. Totally awesome. And so, look, while we've got you on the screen, I'll let you give us your roundout nugget for our audience to take away.
Okay, so I suppose going back to the evidence-based stuff that you were talking about, making sure that people know that whenever they do stuff, make sure that it's evidence-based. I recently attended the Mind Brain Education Conference that was held in Melbourne. It was held by Pearson, and one of the key things that came out of that conference is the importance of incorporating a healthy lifestyle. So focusing on the fitness, the nutrition, and the stress reduction, especially with children and learning. So if I'd say anything, it's that that whole conference, the pinnacle of that, a lot of what came out was that is an incredible important thing for kids learning. And the other thing that came out was meditation and mindfulness in terms of the importance of that. There's some key neuroscientists that presented some amazing stuff in that area. So make sure it's evidence-based and do your research.
Awesome. And Ricki, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Really enjoyed it. Ranil, your golden nugget for us to take away?
Oh, I think the golden nugget at the end of the day is just, you know, health, actually, and how we forget about ourselves. So thanks for, you know, having some really good evidence. I think there was a bit of a, you know, shocking statistic that you mentioned before in terms of, you know, what we actually put in our gut and how that really relates to the holistic approach of us and stress and everything else. I think if there's one key takeaway that I'm going to take from this is basically, you know, watch what goes in, because I think it also affects what happens up there. So, you know, it's very poignant, especially now. So, yeah, thanks for that. It was brilliant.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.
And you've been entirely welcome. I've got all my nuggets here on this piece of paper. I've been writing them all down, but I'm not going to read them all. So the one that I'm going to give you right now is take your time and follow your passion. And I know this is a consistent message, but every time we have a speaker on here, they really endorse this philosophy. And if you only take that away from this evening, take what you love to do and go and make something of it and help a whole lot of people, and believe me, the money will come. So with that, I'm going to close out. Thank you very much, Ricki, for your time this evening, and also Ranil, great to have you along, and we're closing out now.
Thanks. Bye.